finally. This adhesive sucks. Holy sh. What's up, guys? In this video, we are stripping this down to just the main board and the lens, and we are making a naked Hero 8. So in a recent video, I took a Hero 6 and I stripped that down and put it in this beta FPV case. And that video is actually doing pretty good. So I figured I would upgrade to a naked Hero 8. Now for this video, we're not using the beta FPV BEC board. I'm actually using the iFlight board. So let's open up this bag and see what's inside. All right, so we have the power cable and a little bag of screws. And here we have the TPU case. Oh, that's kind of cool. And this goes on the back of the lens. And then here we have the BEC. So this plugs right into the back of the board. All right, so now that I got everything out of this bag, put this aside and we'll get to taking this apart. But before you take this apart, you gotta do a couple things in the menu. So before you take this apart, make sure that it's up to date. Download the latest firmware, make sure that it's good to go because you can't update it once it's completely apart. So once you do that, make sure you go under the settings. If you're using the Wi-Fi app or the GoPro app, make sure that you change the Wi-Fi band from 5 gigahertz to 2.4. And like I said, just make sure it's up to date. Unlike the Hero 6, you don't have to worry about what firmware this is on, so I just have it on the latest version. We'll turn the GoPro off. And we'll take the battery out. And take the memory card out. And while you're at it, take the little door off. All right, so now I'm gonna start on this faceplate. Use something like that, a guitar pick, I don't know, whatever, dude. Don't start down this end. It's probably more difficult to start down this end. On this side, you have these little grooves, so I'm just gonna start picking away at those. Go. I definitely wouldn't recommend using something metal unless you're very, very gentle with it. Because these things can break. You could crack the lens, you could crack the board. Just be careful with it because it is a $200 camera. All right, so this is where the adhesive is. I've got it up to this point. All right, so I got it to this point. As long as you get it so that you can access these 2 screws over here, those are really the only additional screws other than these 4 that you got to worry about. These ones are exposed, there's no glue covering these. These ones, there's glue very close to it, so do your best to get this off. I'm going to focus on getting this piece off in a little bit when I'm trying to get this little screen. Otherwise, you got 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 underneath here. So now we're going to take the lens off. This piece of glass is attached to a little piece of plastic. So I'm just going to put this right in between here. And then pry it up. There we go. Save this, throw it out. I don't really care. All right, so now with all that apart, we can take these 4 screws out and then take these 6 that are holding on the front plate. And they are all the same size. So now, if you look right down in there, there is a Phillips head. It's kind of difficult to see. Remove that. And now the last screws that we need to remove are the ones holding this bracket on. All right, so with all those screws out, this should pull out. When you're pulling this out, just be very careful because there are a bunch of ribbon connectors. So just do it slow. Perfect. All right, so we have, this one is actually supposed to be connected. This one actually just popped right off. But we have some ribbon cables to disconnect. Oops. Pop this one off. Like that. And then we have some in the back here. And looks like we got one more. And this last little black ribbon is just adhesive on the back of the lens. And there we go. So technically, right now what you could do is you could take this mount and mount it right here, and you would still have a naked GoPro. But since I have the iFlight board and the iFlight case, that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna keep going. So next what we're gonna do is remove this plastic piece right here. Now we have 2 more ribbon cables down the bottom. We have one right here and one right here. So we're gonna get those off. And actually, we're going to also take off the camera connector. So that's just this one right here. All right, so that's loose. Now all we have holding the board on is, looks like 4 Phillips head screws. One, 2, 3, and 4. So now this board should be free. There we go. Now this little ribbon right here, you can just cut that. That doesn't, that's just kind of like adhesive holding it together. And there we go. There is the GoPro main board. So I'll put that aside. So now the lens is held in with some Phillips head screws. There's one here, there's one underneath the cable, and then there isn't one over on this side, even though there's a little bracket for it. So we'll remove those. And now this should just pop right out. So now I'm gonna try and get this screen out. We do have this piece of plastic covering it. If you could get it off in the beginning, that's ideally what you wanna do, but I wasn't able to do that. When you're doing this, keep in mind that the ribbon cable is down the bottom. So if you're using something like this, just be careful. Finally. This adhesive sucks. Oh my God. So now I'm just gonna try and get this off of here. There we go. Hopefully it still works. All right, so we got the main board, the lens, and the front screen. Now let's get to assembling the iFlight case. So here we have the BEC. So I'm gonna just plug that in since that is just clipping on right in the back here. I'm gonna trim this back a little bit more. So now this is going to just clip right in place, right about there. Just make sure that these are lined up. There we go. You can feel it click into place. Perfect. Now we're gonna plug in the screen, and that goes on this connector right here. Now with the screen connected, we're going to install the lens. So I'll rotate this over. So I'm going to connect this first. Like that. And then get this close to where it's supposed to be. Now we're going to take the back side of the case. I'm going to first go through the lens, or get the back side of the lens through the case. Right like that. And you can kind of just push it right into place, and the holes kind of just line up like that. Now we're going to use some of the screws that they gave us. So we're going to use the shorter ones. I'm going to put a screw in here, 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 and then right underneath the ribbon cable for this screen. So I'm going to start right up in this corner. None of the screws that you just screwed in on the board are attached to the lens. The lens should still be able to move around. Now we're gonna get ready to install the front cover. So what we wanna do is get some electrical tape. So now we're just gonna get this lined up on there. So in this front cover, there's kind of a groove where the screen is going to sit. There we go. And we're just going to use the electrical tape to secure that into place. There we go. Now we'll line this up. Make sure the lens is good. Now I'll press this down. And get those lined up. And now we will put in these longer screws. All right, there we go. All the 6 screws on the front. And now the last bit is this little cover. It goes on like that. So let's plug it into a drone and see if it works. All right, so I got this all hooked up to my drone, got it plugged in using the same connector that I use for my naked GoPro 6. So let's plug it in and see if it turns on. Had a little red LED up in the corner, so now I'm just gonna hold the power button and sick. Screen works. Looks like it. Yep. Little red LED flashing up in the corner and it films. Sick! So there's a couple of reasons that I went with the iFlight BEC board and TPU case. One of the main reasons is that it was an all-in-one package. So the case came with the BEC board and it's just all together. Another reason is this bottom mount is actually a mount that I've used for my Insta360 Go as well as my Hero 6. This is a mount that I designed. It fits right around this little grommet perfectly, and it makes it a lot easier to change out the Insta360 Go, Hero 6, and now my Hero 8. So I'll leave a link to this in the description. This is on Thingiverse, and you can print it. Another reason that I went with this case is because this little lens protector actually holds the Hero 6, Hero 7 Telesin ND filters, and I have a whole bunch of these for my Hero 6, so now I can actually use them on a Hero 8. And last but not least, I like the fact that it utilizes this little screen showing you how many videos you have and what the settings are. So, yeah. Something else I should mention. I tested it out. I can't really film this because I'm using my phone to film this right now, but the camera does connect with the GoPro app. I mainly use the BLE app, but it connected with that too. So if this video helped you out, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do videos like this all the time. And like, comment, subscribe, whatever, dude. Thanks for watching.